kicked it. You said what's up. I said what's up. We kicked it. We had a good time. Now all of a sudden it seemed like Bill Haney is my enemy. Like I ain't got nothing against Bill.
Listen, I don't know if I'm your enemy or not. I don't claim to be your motherfucking enemy. I don't care nothing about being nobody's enemy. You know who I am. You know what I'm saying? You know how I fuck with it. But if you was my enemy, then you would feel like that. Do you feel like I'm your enemy?
I'm just asking a question.
No, I'm asking.
This ain't, we ain't in no pissing contest.
Does it feel like that?
I don't, that's what I'm asking you.
I feel like, listen, I've been knowing you for hella long, but I feel like you're a bullshit ass nigga. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's how I feel like it, me myself.
So that was the gist of it all. Bill was the aggressor. Floyd does some underhanded shit to people, but I don't think he actually has hatred in his heart for many. He doesn't carry the grudges that they do, I feel. And I'm not saying that makes him good. I'm saying that's the position. It certainly doesn't make him good. But he certainly does do stuff and say stuff that, if true, would suggest that, yes, he's possibly a narcissist and he doesn't have much empathy. Let's just say that. But this conversation here, Bill wasn't trying to mend any fences. I'm not going to bring his age into it. A lot of people have brought his age into it, that he shouldn't act like that. No, you shouldn't act like that if you're 10 years old or 5 or 15. And I shouldn't act like that at 50. There's no age limit on good conduct. Yeah? You're not going to have more of a sense of right from wrong when you're my age or when you're younger. It's as simple as that. That's my experience of being young and an older gentleman. You don't have reckless mouth privileges because you're younger than me. You don't. He called Floyd a bullshit ass nigga, and I don't know in depth what's gone on between them, and that's how he feels. That's how he feels. A lot of people were saying that Floyd was laid back and Bill didn't need to do that. Floyd isn't stupid. He knows to get the moral high ground and to sway public opinion of how it went. If he's laid back and Bill is firing shots at him, they're going to say, oh, well, Bill was emotional. And Bill was saying Floyd's never done nothing for the streets. Then Floyd's kids came up. Was he questioning Floyd's parenting skills? And he was saying that Floyd's kids are in the street. Floyd was saying, look, when your kids get to a certain age, they're going to do what they want to, and that's when you got to disown them. Some people may disagree with what Floyd said, but that point there, you'll be shocked if you go to different countries. Rebellious kids don't get to stay in the house or stay in the grace of their parents. They got to go do their own thing. In Western countries, it's a little different. And if you're not the main bill payer in the house, but you're acting like you are, somebody's got to go. And it probably should be you, the kid, in my opinion. I think Bill was playing to the camera as well, playing to his fans, who are not big Floyd fans by any means, and they would have loved that. I don't know with Bill's whole look out for street nigger philosophy. Maybe it is important across the pond to look out for niggas you don't know. But for me, it's not. Not one bit. Bill is still hurting from Saturday. And hurting a lot. It's still raw for Bill. Very raw. He didn't really let Floyd rebuttal some of the points he was saying. And that's what I wasn't feeling from Bill, really. You know what I mean? If you're going to have a conversation, have a conversation. Say what you say, no matter how harsh people might think what you have to say. But you've got to let people respond to that. If you're going to be very inflammatory, and maybe justifiably, in your opinion, you've got to let the person respond. And that's the first time I've seen Bill do that. Bill normally does let people respond and have a dialogue, but like I say, it's still raw. The result from Saturday is still raw. Floyd responded with that video, with another video, declaring that he's got no hate for Bill, no hate for Devin. I was giving Devin a few pointers on the jab. As you can see in this frame here, Floyd's telling him how to position himself to jab correctly. And, you know, look, Floyd knows more about boxing than most people on the planet, yeah? And you can see in that stance there, it's very compact. And if you watch the actual video, it's way less telegraphed. In the other frame, you could see Devin was exposed with his right hand out as he framed the left, and he said, that's amateur.
And then Devin, in the future when he fight, I'm not saying remove your dad, but you got to have somebody that knows something about boxing right there with you to tell you how to handle that crunch moment. I'm not telling him to remove you, Bill. No. Keep your dad. I know you love your dad. I'm not telling you to get rid of your dad. Keep your dad, but you got to have somebody that's been in that crunch moment that can say, yo, wake up, listen to me, I'm telling you something. Because I know what I would have told you when you was in that situation. Just for starters, Devin, you can't jab. When you was jabbing, you was doing like this. I see you doing like that. We here. We here. Even if it's right here, even you got it right here, you jab, still right here. Okay? Not this. That's amateur.
And with Hearn, Boots making a nice little purse of 3.3 mil, 3,315,000. Cody Crowley, the challenger, will earn 580,000. That's if he takes the fight. That's what ESPN are saying. I didn't actually consider there might be reason why he would decline the fight. They didn't specify why he may do that. But that's the IBF purse bid. And we're going to the Wells Fargo Center in Philly, hometown for Boots, as Hearn sets Boots on his ascension to stardom. That's what the plan is. Matchroom bid a huge $3.9 million to secure the fight. TGB Promotions, Boots' old promotion set up with the PBC, they bid $2 million. Boots apparently hasn't fought in Philly since 2018. Boots is what they would term an email champion, elevated to champion status when Terence Crawford was stripped last November.
Boots just following behind me.
I see what's going on.
I was a PBC. I wasn't getting active. I wasn't getting no money. I wasn't rocking no prezzies, no diamonds, nothing. Now, I got with Eddie. Like I said, probably made more money in every fight that I ever fought with PBC times 2. Like,
with Eddie? Fucking with Eddie?
That's what I'm saying. Meaning, like, when is he fighting? How many fights he gonna fight this year? Just me having that was something that I never had in my career. That's like lovely to me. You know, same shit with Boots. I'm pretty sure Boots was in PBC. Just asked him when he gonna fight. Now that he's with Eddie, he has to schedule. Boots will be knowing when is his next fight before he even get into the ring for that fight. He's fighting that night. He'll know when his next fight is already scheduled, and that's something we need as fighters. You know what I'm saying?
Richardson, Hitchins just echoing what Boots was saying. The PBC didn't have the dates. The money wasn't right. The earning purses they weren't earning with Hearn, that they weren't getting on the PBC. And the fighters of this era, they need that stability, especially if they've got skills. If they're blessed with ability and they're ranked, they got title belts. They need to have that stability of fight dates.
I'd like to thank Al Haymon of PBC Boxing, His Excellency for coming together with this vision, Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn, our co-promoter Tom Brown, our promoter Manny Pacquiao.
So there's about 6 fighters affiliated to the PBC on this. And what Sean Gibbons said there, it made me have to redo this section of the video. Because Al Haymon is giving the fighters his blessing. Maybe not Tim Tszyu, but the likes of Andy Ruiz, Pitbull Cruz certainly, and Valenzuela, they haven't just walked off the PBC forecourt. Al's doing business. He's doing business with the Saudis, who have bridged everything together from Matchroom to Queensbury, and now it looks like Matchroom, PBC. Obviously, Bob Arum has a piece of Tyson Fury, had a piece of the big Eastern European who Caballero battered, he had a piece of him. So the barriers are being stripped down. Is it just as simple as the Saudis are flashing the checkbook to everybody and the barriers just come down? Is it as simple as that? Perhaps it is. Israel Madrimov versus Terence Crawford, WBA super welterweight title. A lot of people outside of Europe, they don't know how good Madrimov is, but I think Crawford will have to be on his A game, no doubt. David Morrell, PBC. Isn't his opponent Kaladzic PBC? I'm not sure. But this is at light heavy, lower tier WBA light heavyweight title. So David Morrell is moving up. And this fight's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's a good fight. Are we finally breaking through these barriers? Al Haymon just doesn't have the dates. So doing business with Eddie Hearn and the Saudis just makes perfect sense. There's no shame in not having the dates. Keep your business afloat, and that's what he's doing. You know what I mean? He can't let all them fighters not eat. You know, fighters should be allowed to fight on any platform what's beneficial for them, financially and for their careers. Isaac Cruz, PBC, defending his WBA 140-pound title against Jose Valenzuela, PBC. I mean, this is just, that's a hot fight. That's a torching hot fight. Andy Cruz, 3-0 as a pro, taking on Antonio Moran. That's probably the least anticipated fight. Most people expect Andy Cruz to win. Moran famous for getting flattened by Devin Haney. And he's fought some good fighters, and Haney's the only one who's flattened him. So that's interesting. Andy Ruiz, PBC, against Jarrell Miller. So, Tim Tszyu, he's co-promoted PBC and is it Glenn Kelly or whoever. Virgil Ortiz, if he beats Thomas Delorme, he'll be on the card. That's Golden Boy. You got MATCHROOM. You got the PBC. Tom Brown, Sean Gibbons. It's about 6 different players working on one card together. Long may this turn that we've made in boxing live. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. August the 3rd. But this is where Terence Crawford needs to be. How great can Terence Crawford become? Because Pernell Whitaker started at lightweight, just like Crawford. Undisputed lightweight champion. He also won the IBF light welterweight title against the very tough Rafael Pineda. He didn't keep that belt. Went up to welter, won titles there. He became a 4-weight champion when he beat Julio Cesar Vasquez, a very tough, capable Argentinian, who I believe had a win over Winky Wright. He beat him on points. Now, what BoxRec doesn't tell you, Whitaker was flawed in that fight. He got back up, he won. But to me, it was very controversial. I'll say that, it was very controversial. But nevertheless, he became a 4-weight champion. No catch weights, no rehydration shit. He fought all his contests legitimately at the correct poundage, not trying to get an advantage. Whitaker actually struggled against Vasquez, in my opinion, but this was at the tail end of Whitaker's career. Can Terence Crawford make easy work of Madrimov like he did against almost everyone? Crawford hasn't been taking the distance since 2016. That was against Victor Postol, who we had on the canvas in their unification. An unbeaten Postol, who a lot of experts were saying had prospects in that fight, but they disappeared after and said Crawford was holding and running and shit. It's okay. I believe Crawford has 8 stoppages on the bounce as welterweight champion. But this is at 154. Retaining your power like that, at this level, moving up all these weight classes, is outstanding. Outstanding. Will the extra 7 pounds see Crawford not looking as invincible? He'll be a big favourite going into this. But Madrimov looked very good taking that belt against the Russian on the undercard of Anthony Joshua Ngannou. Looked very good. Looked very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a huge announcement coming to you guys tomorrow, lunchtime GMT. I'm so excited and I hope you are. Let's go.
So Richard gets the chance to become world champion in front of the South London crowd and his local team, Crystal Palace. Selhurst Park, here we come. June the 15th. 34 years of age, huge puncher, 17-0, with 13 inside the distance. Takes on the champion Chris Billiam Smith, who's a year younger, 33. He's 19-1, with 13 inside the distance. This is a rematch. Their first meeting took place in 2017, when Richard took a split decision win over Billiam Smith. Billiam took a count in the 7th round. I did watch the fight. I vaguely remember the details. Richard deserved the win though. It was a grueling battle. Very tough fight for both men. The question is how was Billiam Smith persuaded to take this fight in Richard's hometown rather than in Bournemouth, where he was doing good crowds, wasn't he? He must be pretty confident, him and Shane. I've got Richard the favourite. He's already beaten once. Billiam didn't look very clever in his last outing against Masternak. Didn't look very clever. And Richard, in my opinion, has improved a lot since their first outing. What I don't like is the inactivity for Richard. You know, 2023, the Glowacki win, yeah, it was a good win, but he was faded. But he done what he had to do. And then the other win was against a tin can. The only issue might be sharpness for Richard. Hasn't been sharpening his swords against quality opposition like that, really. But it's definitely a big fight for Boxer and Sky. Although I'm confused here, Richard, I have to say. I mean, like, you're repping Selhurst Park and Palace, but here you are with a Millwall shirt at Millwall, the Den. I saw this photo and I replied, I thought Richard was a Palace man. And somebody replied, nah, he was Millwall up until about 2017, but obviously, you know what I mean? Like, you get a bigger plug with a Premiership club than a club that whatever division Millwall are in right now. Where are they? First division? I don't know. He's club hopping. I mean, there's a lot of club hoppers. They've even got a tweet here from back when Richard's declaring he's Millwall. British heavyweight contender Matty Harris 6-1. He now trains with Peter Fury. He believes that Deontay Wilder is on a cash-out mission, basically. He believes that his fight with Zhang is a cash grab. He said Zhang is going to win only because Wilder doesn't really look like himself. I feel like he's just trying to cash out. He said that never in a million years would he sign with Eddie Hearn. And right now, he is signed with Eddie Hearn. I just think he's trying to make a bit of dough and disappear. Now, Wilder fought once in 2022 against Robert Helenius. That was late 2022. And then early 2023, January 2023, he made the headlines.
Give me my motherfucking money. In 24 hours, you better have my money.
Wilder stated that fighters getting paid months after fights was something that needs to change. According to him, if a fighter fights on a card, his revenue share should be given to him or her right after the fight and not 3 to 4 months after. This way, there will be more transparency between promoters and fighters, growing the sport overall. Kind of hard to read what he says here. This is them quoting him verbatim, I'm assuming. Another thing we got to change about these fighters, about getting this money. Stop getting the money when it's over. You got to pay him after the time of fight is over. With waiting and all this, but then in business after the job is done, you want your money. You ain't want to wait no month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We need it now, he said. And he never fought for the PBC again after that Helenius fight. Now, Wilder framed it like he was talking for other fighters. And he's made more money than other fighters, and he could be doing a good thing for other fighters. He could be. Who is he talking about? Who are you talking about exactly? He's talking about PBC. Not paying him on time, or whatever other discrepancies he's having with getting paid from them. He's talking about Al Haymon. You can accuse Deontay Wilder of cashing out. Perhaps you could. But everybody over the PBC, not everybody, but a lot of them are chasing that Saudi bag, that Earn with Hearn tag, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more. Eddie alluded to it the other day. There's fighters who want to earn with Hearn, and they're just waiting for the call. But, you know, I said it last year, even before Joseph Parker beat Deontay Wilder. Pre-fight, I said Wilder wasn't planning to fight for the year. He wasn't planning to fight. But that Saudi bag lured him out of his house. And post-fight, after he lost, Malik Scott said, ideally, we would have took another fight, a tune-up, to get ready to fight someone of Joseph Parker's caliber. It wasn't an excuse, it made perfect sense. Well, if that's the case then, why are you not having a tune-up before you fight another top 10 opponent like Zhang? Zhang lost to Parker, but he's still a top 10 heavyweight. Why are they not having a tune-up? Because of the bag. They don't want to decline the bag. He's 38 years of age.
The ultimate thing of it all, what I'm excited about, is that I'm working with people that want to see that monster, that want to see that killer, that won't judge me for saying I want to kill a man and put him on my record.
He can talk about all that, I want to catch a body, like he was a few years back. He's bringing all that back up, Wilder. But in my opinion, and I picked him to beat Joseph Parker, he doesn't improve much more than what we saw him do against Joseph. He doesn't improve much more. Cashing out, he's a boxer. Boxers want to earn the top money for what they have to do. There's no dates for no heavyweights on the PBC. Frank Sanchez, Andy Ruiz, they're all heading over to MATCHROOM. TNT, they're all heading over there. That melting pot. Can we see a better Wilder than we saw against Joseph Parker? That is possible. That is possible. But he's 38 years of age. He's inactive. He needs fights. He needs actual fights. And perhaps it is me going a long way around the houses, playing semantics actually. If he wasn't cashing out, he would be active, taking fights for small money like AJ did against Helenius and Jermaine Franklin, and then step up to the bigger fish. He's not doing that. What's your opinion? Is he cashing out? I'm going to run a poll. December 2023, Glendale, Arizona. It was a good card. Sonny Edwards lost his unification with Jesse Rodriguez via 9th round stoppage. And then Eddie Hearn had him and Kevin Rooney Jr. Great hindsight to pit a lot of British fighters on the undercard against American fighters. And it got very competitive. Galal Yafai won a 10-rounder against Santomaro. Joe McGrail, he stopped his opponent in 2, Edgar Ortiz. But when Britain's Junaid Boston got that decision over Gordy Russ, which was contentious, then it got really competitive. Jericho Quinn took on Joe McGrail's brother, Peter McGrail, one of the standout British amateurs, who went into the fight 8-0. Jericho Quinn was 16-1-1 going into the fight. And Jericho, he looked fired up, like he wanted to get some get back for Gordy Ross losing his fight to the Brit, Junaid Boston. And McGrail was in control of the fight. He had O'Quinn down in rounds 2 and round 4, and then McGrail was counted out in round 5. Upset win, shock knockout. So this Saturday, the stage was set at the Exhibition Centre, Liverpool, for Peter McGrail to take on Jericho O'Quinn in a rematch, but he pulled out with an injury or whatever. So McGrail comes back against Mark Leach. Hopefully, if he comes through that, they can reschedule that Jericho fight. I would love to see it. I'm very disappointed it's not happening. And also on the bill, Beatrice Ferreira, 31 years of age, amateur standout. The Brazilian is a very good fighter. She fights for the IBF lightweight title this Saturday. It was originally planned that Matchroom's Rhiannon Dixon and boxers Caroline Dubois were going to fight for that title. And Eddie admitted it himself, paraphrasing in not so many words. Rhiannon Dixon probably wasn't on the same level as Caroline Dubois. So they got around it and found a route for Rhiannon to fight for the WBO belt, which she won the other week, which left Caroline Dubois with the more dangerous Beatrice Ferreira. This is ordered by the IBF. And guess what? Ben Shalom pulled her out. Now, some of you are going to say, well, Eddie pulled his boxer out. But they weren't promoting her to be the baddest like Ben Shalom and Shane McGuigan were talking up Caroline. And Caroline, done her fair share of verbals as well. And then when she was confronted with Beatrice, she didn't want the smoke. There is a big difference when you talk the talk and don't walk it. There's a big difference.
Saw you becoming quite vocal on social media yesterday about Rhiannon Dixon and the fight that didn't happen. What was your version of events with that?
I mean, I think the only thing that's true is the one version of events, and that she pulled out. She never ever wanted the fight. I think that was obvious. You know, she was quiet as a mouse when it got announced, and she didn't want it. She pulled out. She wanted a way out, and she saw a way out, and she took it. It's fine. It's fine. She's gone off to a fight for another world title. I wish her nothing but the best on that. Hopefully she wins. There'll be a massive unification down the line, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
She said Rhiannon went quiet as a mouse, didn't want the smoke, but she done the same thing. Beatrice, she was supposed to fight Jennifer Janishevich after Caroline pulled out, but now she'll take on the Argentinian Yanina del Carmen Lescano, 14-3-0 with 4 inside the distance. I've already covered the Fresno card, which will also be on DAZN, where Virgil Ortiz takes on Thomas Delorme and Jose Ramirez takes on Rancis Bartholomew. We've already covered that. And with that,
I'm gone, ghost, peace, sayonara.